Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we're taking a look at 17th in the Transformers Studio series, Deluxe Class Shadow Raider from Transformers Age of Extinction. Now I gotta be honest, I really don't remember many Decepticons from Age of Extinction. You had Galvatron, you had Stinger, you had all of their like drone troops, and then of course you had Lockdown. But I don't remember this guy. Now I believe he shares Lockdown's mold. So I believe he's a mold brother of Lockdown with, you know, slight repainting, remolding. Even the head looks like it could be like a helmet for Lockdown. So I'm going to assume that's what it is. You can see here on the side it says Deluxe Class Studio Series 17. If anyone knows for sure if it is directly a Lockdown remold, let me know in the comments below. That's just my guess at this point. Now, you can see he has a Decepticon faction symbol, but it's got a really giant Autobot symbol on the side here, so that's a little misleading. I'm not really sure why that is. If you take a look at the back, it says Shadow Raider. Here's the Decepticon symbol. Big screen inspired. So I'm wondering if that just means... I mean, that's probably something they write generically on all these figures. But I was thinking maybe because like he didn't actually appear on the screen, he's just inspired by those types of figures. I don't know. But you can see down here on the bottom it says, Lockdown dispatches his mercenary Shadow Raider troops to eliminate the intruders aboard the bounty hunter's ship. So if he's like a Shadow Raider troop, then this could just be a generic, you know, Lockdown-inspired clone that he has on board to help him out. So that might be why I do not remember him at all from the movie. But you can see he has a Lambo alt mode, so very similar to Lockdown. So my theory tracks, in my opinion. Then it shows off some others down below. You can see Jazz. This Ratchet, I believe, is a repaint of the Ratchet that came out in the first wave. Again, I don't know if that's 100% true. I haven't had the chance to hold them next to each other, but I think they're just repainting the first wave Ratchet and saying this is what he looked like in the third movie. And then this should be the Bumblebee from his own movie, the VW Bug. So there you have it. Let's go ahead and get this guy out of the packaging here so we can take a closer look. So before we dive too deep into the review, I just want to kind of show off the little diorama that they give you inside the box, which I think is a pretty cool little feature. Just a little something extra. It's kind of neat. I do kind of wish they had different ones for Autobots and Decepticons. Like I wish this one would be purple, all the red would be purple and have a big Decepticon symbol. I mean, I understand this logo is kind of set in stone, but the sides and the base they could have done in purple, but maybe they didn't want to have an Autobot one place and Decepticon, I don't know. But in any case, it would have been nice and certainly less confusing, but I do like the little diorama aspect, so that's kind of neat. So here is Shadow Raider out of the packaging, and I have to say I really like the color scheme. I think the orange is a cool color, especially with the green in the face. I think that's a really cool combination there. Now, he doesn't have a ton of like face sculpting. It's really just like a mask. Kind of reminds me of like something from Halo or something like that. It's just kind of green, like a domed helmet. I guess like that lends to the fact that he's probably a drone. But you have a nice Decepticon symbol there. Otherwise, he's mostly just the orange plastic with the kind of blackish gunmetal gray being the majority of his color scheme. Articulation-wise, the head can go front to back, and it can also go side to side. It's just hindered a little bit by the kind of collar pieces that he has. You have a ball joint here in the shoulder. You do have a bicep swivel, but that's mostly for the transformation, but it works. You have a ball joint in the elbow, nothing in the wrist. You do have a waist swivel, which again is a little hindered by the hips, how they kind of come up. But you can spin it, and that's not needed for the transformation, so I guess that's just for articulation's sake. You do have a thigh swivel, you do have 90 degrees in the knee, and then the ankle has some movement, but again, that's really for the transformation. So, now with this guy, if you were to just stand him up normally, he would totally pitch forward. It's just kind of how he's made. So you definitely want to bend him a little bit at the knees to get kind of a normal posture so he doesn't look super weird. But I kind of like him. I mean, he's very simplistic, and his transformation is fairly simplistic too. We'll get there in a minute, but it's kind of neat. Like I said, I don't know if this is actually, if it's just modeled to look like the new Lockdown mold. I haven't seen the new Lockdown mold, so I need to check it out, but this guy's definitely kind of a shell former with the backpack going on here, but I feel like they did a decent job of compacting it, so it's not really in the way of his like hip movement or anything like that, so that's nice. And he comes with this weird gun, which I will say is a little disappointing. On the back of the box it shows these painted, which they are not. Now the directions are super vague. They have this just floating off to the side with an arrow pointing to his arm. So you're left to decide how you want to connect it. Now, you do have this large tab here, and you have this tab slot on the side of his arm. Now this is mostly for combining it in vehicle mode, which we'll get to a little bit later on. But you could connect it like that if you wanted to. But I believe how this is meant to go. You can see that there's kind of a tab or a peg right there where my thumb is. And there's also this tab down here. And there is a tab slot down here. So I believe you put this round flat peg into his fist. And then you tab that in down there. And so that way it kind of looks like his arm just transformed into the gun instead of him holding a gun. I think that's a pretty cool effect. I like that quite a bit. It hides the fist very nicely, very simply. And it's in there nice and snug. It's not going to fall out. And it really just makes it look like his arm transformed into this gun. I think that's a really cool effect. I think it's very simple, but it works really well. So I like that quite a bit. So yeah, I think the robot mode is a little simplistic, but I think it works. I think it's fun. I like the color scheme. I like the design. The articulation's good. Yes, he has a bit of a backpack, but I think they did a fairly decent job compacting it, and I think it kind of looks neat. Almost like he's a Ninja Turtle and it's his turtle shell. That's what it kind of feels like to me. But he's cool. I like him. Let's go ahead and check out that transformation. Alright, so the first thing you can do, we get these arms situated. He's got these kind of little, I don't even really know what these are supposed to be. Just kind of missile packs or something. I'm not really sure what this is. But these will fold around into the back of the arm like this. And this is actually how he comes packaged in the package. So you might not even know to extend those out. Like the directions tell you to wind them back. But if they're already wound back, I mean, you could leave them back. It doesn't really matter. They're just little adornments. So that's what they are. So at that point, after you move those back, you spin this around. And you can see that's starting to form up the car. You're going to spin this around on the ball joint. And then there's just a tiny little tab there that you just kind of click into place. And that forms kind of the whole side of the car in the front. So there you go. Come down to the feet. Bring these up. Straighten them out. Turn them in towards each other at the thigh. And then you can kind of bring these up and these will kind of click into place. And then you just peg them together. And it's really just about straightening everything out, because you'll probably have the legs turned from robot mode in some fashion. So just get them together, and then this will tab together like this. Alright, so that's the bulk of the instructions for transforming him. The rest is just shell forming. So you're going to lift this back. These pieces will flip out. Kind of lift this. Now how this works, and this is kind of a little weird, but it's kind of neat too. So this lifts back, and you can see right in here, see that little black piece? It's kind of just like two tabs that the hood of the car like sandwiches and clicks in between just to keep the backpack in place in robot mode. So you just kind of rock it out of there, and then you have to just kind of go about getting this out, and then you can straighten this out like this, and kind of just put this all together, bring this back, and you can see that you basically have the whole top of the car. So once you get this all together, you just kind of rock this back into place. This will all click in, and you just start lining up panels. So click this all in, make sure the hood's clicked in. There we go. And then at that point, you just kind of rock the arms up a little bit. And you want to make sure these pieces do not get in the way, because sometimes they'll creep back down. So you just kind of push this up and then get the fists over here on the side and just kind of get everything lined up. A little easier said than done. These fists like to get in the way on the sides, but eventually everything snaps into place. And what you're left with is a pretty cool little burnt orange Lambo. Now I do feel like the head gets in the way a little bit, but the instructions don't really say anything about the head. But it's still good. So he rolls fairly decently, which is nice. And what I was saying before with the gun, you have those notches on the side, so you can go ahead and peg this in on either side. Well, I guess it really should be on this side, because if you try to do it on the other side, it would be upside down, so then it would stick past the wheels. So I guess you do have to kind of put it on this side, but you can mount the weapon there if you like. That doesn't really do it for me. I like just the look of the car by itself, but it does look pretty good. You can see it has the little Lambo crest, although not fully detailed, just kind of hinted at. Headlights. And I just really like the orange color. I feel like you don't see a ton of orange Transformers, so I like it. Everything fits together pretty nicely. Yeah, you can kind of see the robot mode. Here's the head, here's the chest, here's the arms. You can kind of make out the legs down here, but that's kind of what happens when you have a shell former like this. But I think it works. I think the vehicle mode looks great. Rolls well. I kind of wish we got a little bit of a Decepticon symbol, either here on the hood or here on the roof of the car, or something like that. Would have been nice. Not needed, but I would have liked it. So I'm trying to see. This almost looks like it's a little off balance. I'm trying to see if I did anything wrong. I don't think so. No, I think we're good. So yeah, like I said, pretty simple transformation, but I think it works, and I think the vehicle mode you're left with looks pretty good. So I do like this guy quite a bit. I love the color scheme. I think the orange with the gunmetal gray and the little pop of green on the head there really works well together. I love the fact that the weapon kind of integrates so seamlessly into the hand that it just looks like the arm transformed into the gun, and it just looks very solid and cohesive there. So I do like this guy a lot. The only thing that's starting to bother me, especially with these Studio Series figures, the fact that the Deluxes are $20 now, and I can understand it from Hasbro's standpoint. You want everything you sell to kind of be in the same size class, so you have your Deluxe Transformers, your Star Wars Black Series, your Marvel Legends. They're all $20 across the board. You have one kind of unanimous, you know, price point for synergy and all that great stuff, and that's nice. But the nice thing is the Deluxes for, say, Power of the Primes are still kind of holding out at just below $20 at like $17 or $16.84, whatever they are. So if I would put this figure next to a Deluxe from Power of the Primes, which I apologize I don't have one handy, I feel like they would be on par with each other. And that's not a detriment to this figure. I just feel like Hasbro's trying to push everything to that $20, but are they giving you $20 worth of figure? I don't know. That I can't really speak to. I kind of feel like this guy could easily be $15, and then I would think that's a great deal. $20's not ridiculous, and I'm not saying that that should stop you from picking it up, but, you know, it's a relatively new figure. Maybe wait for a sale, something like that. I don't know. It's not a huge complaint of mine. It's just kind of the way the world works, and unfortunately, inflation and prices on everything rises, and price of oil and plastic and all that kind of stuff. So I get it. But to me, this just feels more like a $15, $16 figure versus a $20 figure. And that doesn't mean you should not pick them up, but like I said, if you could wait for a sale and you could get this guy for $15, $16, then I think it's a slam dunk. And if you buy him for $20, I'm not going to say you're going to have regrets, because I don't have regrets. I like him. He's a fun little toy. All the things that I've mentioned about it that I like are good. And I don't have something super much to complain about. I mean, yeah, the shell former thing, some people don't really care for that. But for this guy, I think it works. It gives you a nice, streamlined looking vehicle mode. So the way they did the shell former, it works. I think it does work. I don't know. Maybe it's a gripe and it's just me longing for days when toys were cheaper. I don't know. So take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But it in no way speaks against this figure in terms of its quality. I think it's a nice figure. It feels solid. It looks great. Color scheme, articulation, transformations, all fun across the board. So if you want a fun figure, I can definitely recommend this guy for that avenue. So let me know what you guys think. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as always, thank you so much for watching.